Today, we're going to talk about a shoe that claims to redefine running. Today, we're going to talk about the Brooks Glycerin Max. Hey runners, and welcome. My name is Letty. I host the weekly marathon running podcast, which I invite you to tune into. But I also have this YouTube channel where we do vlogs and race recaps, training tips, etc. and shoe reviews. And with that, let's get started on today's shoe review where we talk about the Brooks Glycerin Max. But before we do that, a quick disclaimer. This shoe has been provided to me for the purpose of review. However, no one is paying me for this review and all opinions expressed here are my own. All right, so with all that said and done, let's talk about the model and purpose of the shoe. The Brooks Glycerin Max was designed as a road running shoe. And with road running, obviously that's really broad. It is a responsive shoe, but it is also a very heavy shoe. So this shoe is gonna be for your everyday training runs, easy runs, and recovery miles. And we'll hop into why that is. But before we do that, let's talk about some of the tech specs. The shoe comes in at 45 millimeters, which means it's a really tall shoe. It has a 6 millimeter drop. And the way that this is designed makes it feel like a very neutral shoe. Also, when you look at the cushioning of this shoe on the Brooks website, it lists the shoe as its most cushioned shoe. And at the same time, it's also made for neutral runners, meaning that there is no GT like they normally have, which helps people that pronate a little bit. But we'll talk about the stability of the shoe here in a little bit. When it comes to the weight of the shoe is listed as 10.5 ounces for men and 9.5 ounces for women. And because of this huge variance in weight, I weigh my own shoe. I just started doing that. This shoe is an 8.5. and it comes in at 9.9 ounces, which makes it a pretty heavy shoe, but not that much heavier than a lot of the other max cushion long run shoe. Let's talk about some more tech specs here. There is no plate in the shoe. Instead, the shoe has a DNA-tuned foam, which means it's a nitrogen-infused foam, which is supposed to make it lighter. This could have been a heavier shoe. But let's talk about it a little bit, because Brooks says they're using the DNA-tuned midsole technology, meaning that they have larger cells in the back of the shoe and smaller cells in the front of the shoe, because when you land, they wanted to have more of a impact damper, better cushion, and then they have the smaller cells in the front, which is supposed to make it more springy, so you have some sort of responsiveness with this DNA-tuned midsole foam. In addition, Brooks says that this shoe has the glide roll technology, which is supposed to make it a seamless transition from heel to midsole to toe off. So that way your run will just be more comfortable. Now, when it comes to the upper, this upper is a mesh, but the mesh is thicker. It's not a thin mesh. And then you have the heel color being very thick and very cushioned. And same with the tongue. The tongue is not gusseted, but it does stay in place because it has that little area that goes where your shoelaces go in. So it does stay in place, but is a very thick and cushioned tongue. Now, when it comes to the sole of the shoe has a very grippy area here that goes all the way to the toe. And you can see the intended rocker there. At the same time, right in these areas where you land, the grippiness does not go all the way to the side, so you can see some wear on the shoe where you're expected to land. Again, I have not put a ton of miles on the shoe, maybe 50 plus-ish, and you can see that it's worn a little bit. It has not affected the feel of the shoe quite yet, luckily. I think you can wear the shoe quite a bit more, but just beware of that. But at the same time, that's pretty common in a lot of running shoes now, that the grippy parts don't go all the way to the side. That's just how the shoe business is nowadays. And that is what we have for the tech specs of the shoe. Now, when it comes to the colors of the shoe is available in a few different colors for women as well as for men. Now let's talk price point. The price point of the shoe is $200 right now on the Brooks website, which is a pretty mid-range maybe a little bit higher price point when it comes to trainers. But since it does have the max cushion and a new technology, it is pretty much on par with what you can expect from a Brooks shoe. And Brooks shoes are also known to last a little bit longer. Now, my first impression of the shoe, when I first received the shoe and opened the box, I was very pleasantly surprised. Maybe I shouldn't say surprised, because Brooks always makes shoes that look pretty neutral and they look good. This shoe does look a little bit different in that you can see the foam within the foam, so it gives it a cool look. I also like that it was a high stack height, because it made me hopeful that this is going to be another really, really good foot fatigue shoe that you can wear in the middle of your training when you have those easy recovery runs. The shoe was just as heavy as I expected for the way it looks. Obviously, the weight has to go somewhere when you have this high stack height. Then I put my foot in the shoe. And unfortunately, I must have just been really excited. When I put my left foot into the shoe, I trampled down the heel color. And so a lot of the cushioning moved down to where it sat on the back of my heel. I didn't like that, so I took my foot back out, and I've been trying to massage that foam back to the top, and it hasn't ever fully recovered, so watch out for that. I can obviously still wear the shoe. I just really try to squish it back out before I put the shoe on. The shoe is very soft and very cushy. Since it does have a non-gusseted tongue and a lot of seams, this is not a shoe that I recommend wearing barefooted, but most of you guys, that's my own personal preference. And when I was wearing the shoes, it felt cushy, but not as cushy as I expected it to. And that was my first impression. So now I'm going to show you what the shoe looks like when I wear it and run with it. And then we're going to hop into my second impression, or final impression of the shoe. I'm going to tell you what I wear the shoe for and who I recommend the shoe for. My final impression or opinion about the shoe, opinion is better. The shoe is a great shoe for long, easy runs. That's what I wear it for in my shoe rotation. I wear it maybe once a week for these longer runs. It's not my favorite long run shoe. I have some other ones that I also like, such as the Skyward X. It feels just as heavy, but maybe a little bit less neutral and less straight. I feel like the Skyward X has a little bit more of a rocker. Again, I also am not a fan of the heel color, because I feel like it's very low, and the fact that I trampled on it and pushed the cushion down made it not as well working for me. I also don't like the tons of cushioning of the shoe, but again, that's just a personal preference. Who do I recommend the shoe for? I recommend the shoe for a lot of people, actually. I feel like if you are a runner that has long runs on their schedules and wants to have a shoe that's designated only for long runs, that's what I would wear it for. I would not wear this shoe as a versatile shoe. I don't feel like it pops as much as some people say it should. For me, it just doesn't have that. I did try to run a few faster miles in it, and the heaviness of the shoe was not overcome by the supposed springiness of the smaller soles like Brooks claimed. So for me, this is just simply a long run shoe for maybe the 10-12 easy run pace miles. I also feel like this shoe could be great for people that are maybe a little bit set on the heavier side, because they could benefit from the foam more, and people that are maybe heel strikers that could also benefit more from the larger soles in the back and the springiness in the front. So that is that. If you have any comments or input, you are welcome to list that in the bottom of this video for other people to read in case I forgot something. Again, I appreciate you tuning in for the shoe review, and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you so much. Until next time.